almost ready. We are waiting for the most hungry attendees of our dev fest. Just 3 more minutes. Okay, we are ready to start. So, hello everyone. My name is Vitaly and this is Ostap. We are a GG organizer from Lviv, Ukraine. And today we are going to talk about wearables. And to be more precise about wearables architectures and how all this wearable stuff started. And to begin with, I want to ask you, how was your lunch? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
And actually we have one more addition to your lunch. This is a small tasty present from our DevFest, and we will give it to the most active participant of our session. So please ask questions, stop us, and this gift is for you. So let's start. And who knows what is wrong with this picture? Yeah, exactly. And now it's really a big problem because our phones change the way how we behave with each other. And that's probably not the right thing that this couple should do at this moment.
Actually, there was research in Japan. Like they have a long-standing research for like 20 years, where they is it working? Okay, where they check how many people are born each year. And during the last several years in Japan, there was a big drop of newborn people. And Japanese scientists are trying to figure out what's the problem. And one of the ideas is that there is a huge involvement in virtual reality in Japan. Like people are using social networks and various messenger apps to communicate with each other even when they are like driving in underground together or somewhere else. So maybe there is even some correlation between these two things, like the drop in birth and the
Yeah, it's impossible to make new people in social networks for now.
Yeah.
So Google decided to fix this problem, and the problem is like, for instance, we get notification on our phone, we get it out, we try to get it out, we spend a lot of time, we check new message, and think like, I spent so much time taking off my phone, so let's check Twitter, mailbox, and so on, so on, so on. And as a result, we get lost in our phone. And we spend from 3 to 5 minutes of our real life just checking all our notifications, new messages, and so on, so on. And that's really a problem. And the solution that they approached with is to make these notifications more glanceable and more easy to reach. And their solution was Android Wear. And wearable devices like watches, where you can quickly check notification, respond or not respond to it, and get back to your real life.
And every company right now is trying to jump into this wearable train and create their own wearable. The reality is that wearables are now facing the same problem as Android 5 years ago. There are so many wearables that it's hard, and everyone is different. On this picture, this is the daily routine of our wearable developers in our company, where they have to work with a lot of wearables. And this was, I guess, like several months ago. Right now they have to work with a lot more devices and test it on more different screen sizes and all this stuff. For instance, For instance, if you were an IT journalist and you were like watching which wearable devices are coming out, this would be your schedule for the first week of September. During the first week of September, there were announced like 7 different devices. And the culmination was the Apple Watch, which was announced on Friday. Before that, 6 new devices. Each of them is absolutely different. And you would have to cover each of them. Moreover, if you look at how new wearables arrive now, you can see that almost every week there is a new company on Kickstarter saying that they will absolutely change the wearable world. They will create their own new awesome device, and they are collecting some money. So everyone is trying to create their own wearable. Everyone is trying to figure out which wearable is the best. That's why there are a lot of different devices.
And as a result, a lot of different architectures that we are going to cover. But before we start covering different wearable architectures, let's get back to the beginning and think about what was the beginning of wearable era. Some people think that everything started from this advertisement.
You know, it's driven Apple from the beginning. This compulsion to take incredibly powerful technology and make it accessible, relevant, and ultimately personal. We've designed a range of products so personal, you don't put them on your desk or in your pocket, you wear them on your wrist.
Do you know what is this? Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people, especially hipsters, think that the wearable era started with announcement of Apple Watch.
We'll start with this,
yeah. On their presentation, they said that they developed this fancy feature. This is ring, digital ring that you can wrap and interact with interface. It's a pretty strange.
Common thing, even old watches, they also have this circle on the right.
Yeah, but was it really the beginning?
I guess it was not. For instance, there was one small company called IBM. In 2001, they created their first smartwatch. It was a Linux-based watch. It had a console there, so you can do various stuff with it. And they had some problems. They had no Johnny Ive. Who knows who is Johnny Ive? Okay, so who is he? Yeah, but that's the main designer behind all Apple products. So IBM had no great designer behind their product, and they had no such great marketing team as Apple has. So we wanted to fix this. That's why we took the audio from the Apple advertisement and overlaid it over IBM watch. So let's have a look how IBM could present their watch with the help of Johnny Ive.
So we are getting back to 2001 and watching IBM watch presentation by Johnny Ive.
Apple from the beginning, this compulsion to take incredibly powerful technology and make it accessible, relevant, and ultimately personal. We've designed a range of products so personal, you don't put them on your desk or in your pocket, you wear them on your wrist. You see, an organization of apps that, while new, is somehow familiar. Navigation is fluid and vital. Magnifying content on a small display is fundamentally important. So we've developed a whole new interface specific to the challenges associated with a product this small. The Digital Crown is a remarkable input device. It fluidly zooms into apps. It enables nimble, precise adjustment. I think we're now at a compelling beginning, actually designing technology to be more, to be truly personal.
So probably that's how advertisements in 201 looks like, but without Johnny Ive.
Yeah. As you can see, you can change the video and take Johnny Ive, and it can work for your product. So think about it. Let's go back to the IBM watch. That was a Linux-based watch. They even had the cut-down version of X11. And it was using infrared and Bluetooth for communication. Also, it had such a big cradle, like that, where you could put your watch and, upload applications to it. A year later, they created a next watch. They called it IBM Watchpad. It even had a fingerprint sensor as a security measure in 2002.
Hello, iPhone 5.
Yeah. Touch ID and all this stuff. Also, they understood that having X Windows on that system is too tough, so they used micro Windows, windowing system, which is created especially for embedded devices. They had a bigger screen with 340 and 420 resolution. Actually, that was a touch screen, as you have probably seen, in 2002.
But the real boom in wearable era started after this Kickstarter project. The small team founded Pebble Inc. and in 2012 they started their Kickstarter campaign, and they wanted to collect somewhere around $100,000. But as you can see, they collected 100 times more. Think about this number, it's 100 times more. For that time and till now, it's the most successful Kickstarter campaign, and Pebble, even for now, it was launched 3 years ago. It's probably one of the most common smartwatches on the market. And this number showed that market maybe not ready to the wearable devices, but it want to try how does it work and how does it feel to wear a smartwatch. Inside, Pebble is a smart accessory to your phone. It can't work without your phone. It is running Pebble OS. It's special version of OS built on top of open source Linux kernels, specially designed for embedded devices. You can write your apps on C or JavaScript, starting from SDK version 2. And the point about about C and JavaScript is that when you want to install new applications to your Pebble, you don't have to manually connect your phone to special devices. You just have Pebble Market on your phone. You can download these executables from special Pebble Market and install it directly to device. So in this way, they try to achieve cross-platform development because Pebble is able to work with Android and iPhone from first days.
Then there is Sony. Right now, I guess that's the second popular watch after Pebble. Sony, from the very beginning, Sony called their wearable devices smart accessories. The first one was that smart headset on the right. It's like a headset which shows you additional information, and you can have a look which song is playing right now and similar stuff. Then they created their first Sony smartwatch. They created it in 2012. And then there was the most successful one, Sony Smartwatch 2. Actually, I really like this smartwatch, even though the design is very ugly. From the technical standpoint, it's a rather good device. It lasts for 4 and 5 days, so the battery is good enough. and it works. It really helped me read messages and all this stuff. The way Sony approached building a wearable device is that they leveraged the power of your phone and they created, well, they used wearable device just as a second screen for your applications. So all the business logic is running inside the phone. And phone is just showing...
hide your phone.
The watch is just showing pictures which are rendered on your phone, inside your code. Like, it's a very simplified version. So as a developer, you create an Android application which communicates via the Sony API to the Sony smartwatch and sends, well, right now it can send even text, but before it sent only images over the Bluetooth. And the Sony smartwatch sends you the notifications like, the callbacks like, I touched the screen, I swiped the screen, and all this stuff. So you never leave the usual Android development, you just write some callbacks. Packaging and publishing applications is also very easy. You just have your Android application, you write some additional code for Sony support, and then you package it as a regular Android app with a specific name in the description, and then it will be available on your phone just for your watch. Actually, this device is, well, not self-contained. It cannot work without the phone. Well, it can, but it will only show you the time. And what is very pity, if your phone like discharges, you can't even change time from the watch. It only saves the last synchronized time when it was connected to the phone. It's very pity, but well, that's how it worked.
And now we are getting to Android Wear, probably the most appropriate topic to talk about on AdaptFest. As Ostap mentioned, Sony smartwatch Wearable is not a self-contained device, they require phones. Android Wear devices, just like the one that IBM produced in the beginning of 20th century, is totally self-contained device. It was presented on Google I/O. The public release happened 3 months ago, and it's becoming more and more popular. As you saw the general schedule, on IFA it was released 6 devices and 2 devices more after IFA. So for now, most part of smartwatches are powered by Android Wear, and it's becoming more and more popular in the latest years. Android Wear architecture is a bit different from previous operating systems, because Android Wear is basically the same Android that's running your phone. The only difference is the way UI is rendered. It's totally optimized for small screens, big gestures, and very quick, simple interactions. That's why some APIs are cut down, and also we have some additional APIs. For instance, via Google Play services, we can communicate with our watch using data messaging, and Node API. All the stuff allows us to create rich applications that not only extending our phone application, like in Sony smartwatch or Wearable. It allows to run totally independent applications that can track, for instance, your heart rate activity, or in some wearable device, in some Android Wear devices, you have even a GPS chip, and you can run only with your watch, and it will be enough to track your activity and productivity during your workout. If we're talking about publishing, it's also simple Android development. The only difference is in case of Sony smartwatch, we are able to publish application only for smartwatch, without publishing application to your phone. In case of Android Wear, it's not possible to do so. You have to have at least 2 applications. One is a phone application, and Android Wear application packaged inside that phone application. And if you want to install more applications to your watch, you have to download your apps from Google Play. They will be installed on your phone, and if it will find that inside this application there is one more application for your watch, it will automatically install it. That's very easy way to distribute these apps, and they don't need a separate market to distributing apps like Wearable does.
And this presentation would not be sufficient without the architecture of the rumored Apple Watch. Everyone is waiting for the real device, and recently they released the SDK and technical information behind it. Actually, they used the same idea as Sony. All the code, all your business logic is running in your phone. So you will need an iPhone in order to use Apple Watch. Once you create an iPhone application, you extend it with WatchKit extensions, where you have all the code, all the resources. Later, when you install it on the iPhone, it takes out the storyboard, like the UI behind your application, all the resources required for this, and uploads it to your watch. Then, through the WatchKit provided by Apple, it communicates with the iPhone and updates the UI on the watch. All the code is run on the extension, and the watch is like a regular second screen. That's how packaging works in Apple. There is an iOS application, as I have told, with the iOS code and resources. Then you have inside something wearable, which gets extracted and published to your watch. That's how.
Yeah, that's pretty the same idea as behind Android Wear, more Android Wear approach, but the only difference is when you install your iOS application, iOS will ask you if you want to install a watch application, and this actually it's good because from time to time your watch get bloated with unneeded software.
Yeah, and in Android, if you have Android Wear device, all the applications which have the Android extension will automatically be published to the watch.
We are fighting for a clicker. Okay, and we talked about a lot of architectures, a lot of ways to distribute apps, a lot of ways to communicate between your watch and your phone. And from a developer point of view, it's a good thing to somehow categorize this, to split
all this wearable ocean into
smaller parts
regions.
to make it easier to operate with, and to plan how you will share your business logic among these wearable devices. So the first way that we can categorize our wearable devices is by operating system. And as I said before, for now Android Wear becoming more and more popular. Like more and more devices got released in recent few months, but there is also big players like Samsung who makes their operating system for wearables, like Tizen. We have Alcatel that not really published their watch, but they announced it internally. We have Wearable, we have Sony that has their one more SDK for wearable devices, and much more wearable devices that are running something. That it's completely closed.
They don't require anything or apps at all.
Yeah, for instance, who heard about Microsoft Band? Okay, Microsoft Band is probably the newest wearable device. It was released like months ago. It's something between a sport tracker and smartwatch, made by Microsoft. It's running kind of modified Windows Phone on a watch. And the main idea is they put a bigger battery, and their main focus was on tracking your workouts. And that's why there are not so many applications and ways to extend your applications on this smart device, as they didn't publish SDK. It's completely closed platform, and for now at least. But they're doing the sport tracker activity, and they're doing it pretty well. from smart features that can help in your business life, it's like answering calls, notifications, and so on and so on. But that's only the basic features that we expect from wearable device, and no way to extend to more advanced one. Second way is to categorize them, and this is probably more important to end customers. Yeah, it's about how long we can use our wearable devices. Who is charging phone every night? Okay, who is ready to charge your phone and your watch every night? Okay, I also do. And that's actually a big problem, because there are only a few devices that can run more than one day. And they, like, that's the reason that we mentioned that Sony smartwatch and Pebble are leading on the market, because they can work at least for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And in case of Android Wear devices, the best performance, at least I saw in the market, was 2 days. But 2 days it's not enough, and they, as I mentioned, it's if in normal use without GPS, without any nice features you want to use. But you always have your plain wearable devices like your glasses and watches that will never die.
Yeah.
And for my opinion is like the company who make a new type of battery source who either charge very quickly or will last long will break the market. Because battery is the weakest, is a bottleneck in the market now. And I suppose each vendor can make even more powerful phone, but it will last for 6 hours. And it's definitely not that the customers want, so we're waiting for a new type of batteries.
Probably. While we are waiting for a new type of batteries, there's always one thing which really matters. The design. Unfortunately, people don't like, well, there are awesome watches and there are like geeky watches. Usually people don't like wearing not so attractive watches. Right now, on the wearable market, there are devices which you can divide like in attractive and not so attractive groups. Everyone was waiting for Moto 360 because that was the first round smartwatch. And well, from my point of view, Moto 360 looks great. There's also LG G-Watch, LG AirWatch, which is round. Everyone is, well, I don't find it attractive, but people argue with me that it is. We'll see how it works. Right now, the mass market is not ready for the fashionable part, so probably in the near future, we will see that companies will combine their forces with fashion designers and try to make this smart wearables more fashionable. Right now there are a lot of collaboration between various designers who are working with Fitbit, where they make the custom bands for Fitbit, like jewelry one with gold, silver, and all this stuff. Probably in the near future there will be more. And Apple is already working in this direction, so probably they are right in this way. We'll see how it works. And we'll see what will be the answer to this, the final and probably the main question. Will this become normal? There are a lot of issues involved which we don't even know about yet. For instance, there is one situation where usually when I look at a watch, this means that either I am interested in looking what time is it now. If I'm looking very often at my watch, this usually means like I am in a hurry to somewhere. I need to be fast, like what I'm doing here, I should be somewhere else. And that's what usually people expect when they see someone looking at their watch. Right now, what happens with wearable devices is that there are a lot of notifications from phone coming to your watch. And often when you talk to someone and you receive a lot of notifications, you will automatically look at it. And the person who you are talking to may not understand your intentions. They can think that you're just ignoring him or her, but instead you're just looking and swiping through notifications. So there are a lot of behavioral changes which we have to overcome. And we'll see how it works. With glass, it didn't work out. People are not, there is no social acceptance for glass right now. No, don't worry. We are on a geeky conference, so it's okay. We'll see how it works. I hope it will become normal, because sometimes people get accustomed to new things.
At least 10 years ago, mobile phones changed how we look in our world, and this picture...
And how we behave on concerts and all this stuff.
Yeah, and probably in 5 or 10 years we'll see the same situation with wearable devices, but for now we can't say how it will look like.
Yeah. So, thanks for your attention, and we are ready to face any questions you have. Okay.
Hi, I want to know from you between Samsung Galaxy Gear and Apple iWatch, which one do you prefer and why?
So the question was which watch we prefer, Apple iWatch or
the Apple.
Or Samsung Galaxy Gear.
or Samsung Galaxy Gear.
Okay,
Probably
for me personally, I would go for Apple.
for me personally none of them,
Yeah, but if I
but
had to choose, I would choose them.
I am very subjective on this topic. But from design point of view, it's definitely Apple. But it's a question if you're ready to pay $600 for a watch.
Because this one is very strange. It has a camera. Like, you can take selfies.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Why don't you use a smartwatch? And I don't see your hand.
Exactly.
Remember we mentioned, okay, the question was why we are not using smartwatches.
Yeah.
Actually, we are using, but not when we are traveling. Remember we mentioned that the battery lasts only for 1 day. And we are traveling to Turkey for 3 days, and we don't like to carry 2, 3, 5 more chargers for each of our device.
And actually, what is strange, well, why I like the Sony smartwatch? I use it from time to time. It has a the usual micro USB charger. All other watches have either dock stations or wireless chargers, which are not so popular. And carrying another charger is very tough. And yeah, and they discharge. So that's unfortunately.
Any more questions? Viva?
Do you think price is a big issue with current devices? Because the difference between the devices and their prices are huge.
Actually, there is, probably Ostap will answer this question.
I was at one Wearable meetup in London, and there was one guy called Nick Han, who has an awesome research on the wearable price and probably wearable market. And what he says right now is that there are very big issues with price. For instance, the quality of $25 pedometer is the same as the quality of pedometer in $200 smart band. So the prices for these devices will drop somewhere in the future. If we are talking about, for instance, Apple Watch, which should cost somewhere like $1,000, there are other issues with that, because with technological devices, there is one issue, that you have to change it like 1 or 2 years. Because the technology gets upgraded, you can get better software, better hardware, and in order to do this, you have to buy a new one each year or each 2 years. But when you buy a watch, like a high-end watch, you usually buy a high-end watch for several $1,000s, and you use it as a jewelry, which will last for tens of years, and which you can later give to your children as a jewelry. You won't be able to give Apple Watch in 20 years as a jewelry. So there are these interesting things which use price, which we don't know the answer to yet. The Apple will, of course, work because people are crazy. So, and that's the company which can sell like millions of devices even just showing them up. Because fanboys.
Any more questions? Who want to take part in chocolate contest? Okay, so probably the best question was about battery life and why we are not carrying our smartwatches.
Yeah.
So, who asked that question?
That guy.
That's for you. So come up to us after presentation. It's your chocolate. For now, thanks for your attention. And if you have any other questions, feel free to catch us somewhere outside of our auditorium. And see you later.
Okay.